Everybody's asking the wrong question with Florian Wirtz. It's not whether he replaces Dominik Szoboszlai. It should be how they play together. And the answer's already there in plain sight. Because if Liverpool don't sign a top striker this year, Wirtz will play as a false nine. And we've already seen how that'll look last season in a game where Florian Wirtz wasn't even playing. This might be the clearest sign as to what next season might look like for Florian Wirtz and, of course, Dominik Szoboszlai. Welcome back to the George Scaife channel. Loads to go through today, in particular with Florian Wirtz and where he'll play next season. I think he'll play with Dominik Szoboszlai in a front two if we don't sign a striker. A lot of people saying he'll play on the left. I completely disagree. And the answer was right in front of us. This is what I'm basing my thought process off. It was the Man City game last year, 2025, February. We won this game 2-0. And I want to just go through loads of things with you right now. Look at all these things. Oh, my God. I'm overwhelmed. I want to start with how we set up in that game. We didn't set up with a recognised number 9 in that game. There were no Jota, no Nunes, no Gakpo down the middle, no Diaz down the middle even. It was Jones. It was Curtis Jones playing as a false 9 with Dominik Szoboszlai. And I've highlighted here that 4-4-2 kind of off-the-ball formation we played in, that kind of block. In attack, this looked very different. It looked as more of a 4-2-3-1 that we see normally. But Jones, I want to just focus your attention on here. Look at Jones off the ball when we're pressing. Look how he forms that front four. Bang. You kind of having a player sit off here. Jones is sitting off there, I think, mainly to kind of cover this space. I hope you can see my mouse, by the way. Look at Foden kind of dropping in. Look how much space he'd get there. Jones is wise to that. He's staying in this position. Rico Lewis inverting. Man City do that. Man City put players in the middle and they let us control the game, as they did in this game. They had loads of the ball, loads of possession, but didn't win the game. We were turning it over so effectively in the final third. Jones, when he sees the ball going back, Ake passes it back, I believe that is. Jones pounces bang into that front four. Imagine Jones was Florian Wirtz. This is exactly the position I think Florian Wirtz will occupy next season when he comes in. Jones presses onto that front four. We've seen that quite a lot. I mean, every game last season. And Jones, bang, can he track the runner down? Diaz goes to press the man, goes wide. Jones runs. Everyone comes across. Look how everyone's coming across, even Szoboszlai. These two, I think, actually have a very close relationship. Szoboszlai whether it be a Jones, a Jota, and Nunes, he tends to be very close to the man, and he likes to play off him. He likes to do the running, and he's capable of doing them hard yards. Jones presses. This is what Wirtz is going to do. Imagine if this is Florian Wirtz. Jones presses, wins the ball back. Excellent. Wins the ball back. Can we capitalise? A better pass here from Jones to Szoboszlai. We score from there. But that's just one instance of how Man City, one of the most dangerous teams on the ball, have been nullified by Liverpool pressing so well, these patterns. And I want to speak later about how Wirtz is going to fit like a glove into these patterns. He's done it at Leverkusen. I believe he's got the highest, in the Bundesliga, he's the highest, number 1 ranked, most turnovers in final third last season. What a great stat that is for us. Like, as Liverpool fans, wow, how reassuring and assuring is that? Next one, I mean, from the same game, by the way, Salah on the right-hand side on the counter-attack. The beauty for me of not having a recognised number 9 in there, whether it be an Isak coming in, a Gyökeres or Ekatika, whatever, they're going to be, look at my mouse there, that's where they're going to be. The beauty of not having one is, look at these runs from Jones. We saw this against Chelsea as well. Jones was so good against Chelsea, and he scored that day from these late runs into the box. And just look at that. I wanted to put your attention there on 45. Look at number 45, and I'm going to slow it down. Szoboszlai scores there. Salah plays to Szoboszlai and he scores. But it's not like as simple as that. I think the run of Curtis Jones here is so brilliant, and it actually makes this goal happen. Let's look at a different angle. There's your back four. Looking all right, to be fair. Ake's got no one to mark. I mean, they're looking pretty free. But that's because there's no striker on them. Look at Jones. Jones is that striker, but he's not playing as a striker. He's allowed to run in from midfield. He'd probably be the guy who's won the ball back, by the way. Like, he'll have been contributing to winning the ball back in his own half. And look at this run from Jones. Don't focus on Szoboszlai, Salah. Look at Jones. Bang. 45 takes a step back. 45 should be the guy pressing Szoboszlai. Look how much room Szoboszlai's got now because Jones has made that run there. I think it's an excellent run. And that's the kind of thing I think exactly Wirtz will be doing. And Szoboszlai scores. Look how much room he's got there. And look at that run Jones has taken. Just another example from that game of that double false 9 kind of formation. I think people call it now 2 soft 9s. I mean, how woke does that sound? But these false 9s, these attacking players, who I think it's more, what's the word? But it's abstract. It's quite an abstract role, right? Isn't it? It's not a recognised 9. It's not a false 9. They're just attacking players who are that intelligent they can take up the roles which need to be taken up. Another one from that game, ball in from Gravenberch through to Szoboszlai. And look at this. These are 2 players on the same page. And I think Szoboszlai and Wirtz will be this. And I think it's as simple as just putting Wirtz into these pitches where Jones is, because I think the roles he's taken up are exactly identical to where I think Wirtz will be. Ball in, so one of the easiest goals you'll ever score. I mean, how easy was that? And that's the benefit of having two central players in there. When you look at Liverpool under Klopp, you'd have, let me make myself bigger here, you'd have like, I put myself on the wrong side. That would be Salah, and maybe inside would be Firmino. But who's playing that ball? Who's? Let me go back one. Oh my God, let me go back one. Look at Salah there. The reason Gvardiol is there is because Salah's there. Like, in the Klopp, you'd have maybe a Salah and a Firmino and a Mane running through there, but you wouldn't have anyone bringing Gvardiol back, so you wouldn't actually get the chance to do something like this. Whereas if you've got two central players, you can't track them all. Look how much room there is there. And by the way, that's Diaz on the wide there, so the fullback can't come in and press Jones and mark Jones. Your centre-back is none the wiser, doesn't know which one to pick up. Your midfield player, again, because they're actually midfielders, they're not strikers, you don't know whether to mark them or just cover the space halfway. It's a really difficult one for defenders to mark. And last season, I mean, I just thought that game was brilliant. And I wanted to pick on Szoboszlai in a second, by the way, because that was probably his best game of the season, or one of them, certainly. Liverpool lined up with Szoboszlai and Jones ahead of a midfield two. Szoboszlai scored after pressing and breaking through centrally. Jones operated narrow, drifting into wide spaces to create overloads. And he pressed City into mistakes. The forced City into mistakes. Low possession, high territory, sorry. They found gaps by dragging defenders out of shape. And Szoboszlai, I mean, the amount of ground he covered, I think he won the ball 5 times in key areas in that game. He scored from a move, helped start pressure. What have I written there? Oh, score from a move. He helped start with press high up the pitch. Relentless energy. Top for distance covered in that game alone. Didn't just press, he controlled the transitions and linked midfield. Everything went through Szoboszlai. But we're not talking about Szoboszlai. Let's speak about Florian Wirtz. I move myself to the left. Now, Jones played off the left, and I want to speak here about, can Florian Wirtz actually just go into that role? Because I think he can. I think he's made for that role. So I've written on the bottom there, these are my titles, guys. Look at what I'm doing here. Look at my titles. Follow them. Jones' role, does it equal the Wirtz role? I think so. Jones played off the left in that game, drifting inside to connect the midfield and the attack. Again, he's not a striker. The defenders don't know to mark, because is that their man? Is that the midfield's man? You don't know who, he's like that free man who's really confusing to mark. Wirtz thrives in that exact zone. Quick turns, creative threat, more press resistant than Jones, in my opinion. He's also more productive, right? He scores a lot more goals, creates a lot more goals. So it should be a natural upgrade, right? In my opinion, he just slots in there. It's a slot joke. Oh my God. He just slots in there. And he's already trained. Well, I've written trained, that's the wrong word, really. He's played in this system before at Leverkusen. He's been that guy on the left in the attacking zones with a fullback overlapping in Grimaldo, a great relationship with him. I just don't see why that can't transition into the Premier League, into Liverpool. It's the exact zone he's playing the best football in. So put him there. You know what I mean? The only thing I'd say is he ain't got that recognised number 9 in front of him to maybe bounce off and feed off. He had a great relationship with him at Leverkusen. But I don't see why Szoboszlai can't be that man to do so. With Diaz overlapping, Kirk is coming as well. Frimpong, it's a different team, of course. It's not the same team as Leverkusen. But I just think so much is going in his favour for him to succeed straight away at Liverpool. Why the false 9 duo, worked. It forced City's midfield to split, open space for Salah and Diaz. That's another thing, bringing these players into play. Having two players who aren't 9s, who aren't midfielders. It's like, does your midfield go with them? Does your defence go with them? Do your fullbacks, like in that instance there, Rico Lewis inverting? We're seeing so many fullbacks now in Prem inverting to midfield. It's like, does the fullback go with him? And if they do, that leaves room for Diaz, it leaves room for Salah. Maybe one of the weaknesses could be maybe teams catch on to this, but I think at the same time, if you catch onto this, it's so easy to adapt out of it and just to play a 4-2-3-1 and just bring Jota in. Is it not like, I think we're smart enough to adapt to these teams catching on. We created chaos between the lines without sacrificing width. The fullbacks pushed into advanced lanes to stretch the play. I think that'll be even more exaggerated next season with Frimpong. That is literally his game. That's what he's about. Like, Trent ain't about that, but Frimpong is. And a front four that could press, drift, and overload centrally. Oh, have I spoken about Wirtz on here? I think I have. Yeah, Wirtz is perfect for that left-hand side role. It combines press and work rate with on-the-ball composure. He was so good off the ball in the Bundesliga. I actually fact-checked the stat. I think I said it earlier, the most presses in the final third in the Bundesliga. This is an energetic man. This is a man who wants to be hungry. He is hungry. He wants to go looking for the ball. And I think a very similar thing can be said about Szoboszlai. I think both of them in there, it just feels like a shame to drop one of them. And I get if you start Wirtz, maybe you bring Szoboszlai into the cup games. But like, that's a £60 million player. They're probably worth more. Like, you can't sign them for cup games. It's a real shame to drop both of them. And that is a real, like, if you're a team going up against Wirtz and Szoboszlai, you're going to be thinking, hold on, I can't get a minute here. Give me a minute on my own to compose myself. You can't, because these two are chasing you like greyhounds. With Salah and Diaz offering energy on the width and pace, he makes fluid runs between the midfield and front line. He can create, he can finish. He's more decisive than Curtis Jones. I feel like I've said that already. Sorry. It's true, though, isn't it? It is true. What this means for Szoboszlai, though, it's all well and good saying Wirtz is going to come in and do very well. Is that going to negatively affect Szoboszlai? Perhaps. They're going to take up maybe more similar zones at times. Szoboszlai will stay central. More central, in my opinion. He won't be pushed wide into deeper pivots. I don't think he'll be pushed wide because, unlike last year, because Frimpong's in there now. Frimpong's going to be so wide. You can't tread on territory, right? Salah's only got so many places to go on that right-hand side. I think Salah will be pushed more narrow, and therefore I think Szoboszlai will be pushed more narrow next year. He presses from the front with energy and awareness, links better with Diaz and Salah when starting high for me, and he's like the connector between the lines. Again, I've said it so many times, but a player doesn't know who to mark. Do you mark the striker? Do you mark the midfielder? Who do you mark if you're marking Szoboszlai? Because he's not either. It's a really great position to be in. In pre-season, it's very optimistic. I'm really excited to see what we're going to play. Really, Wirtz and Szoboszlai pressing together from the front. That's the main thing I'm looking for in pre-season. Are they going to do it? Are we going to see it before the first game week? I don't know. I don't think so. Liverpool don't tend to play the first team at every game and let them rotate. No one really does. Let's be real. I think Jones will see a lot of game time. I think some of the young lads will see a lot of game time. But that fluid front four with overlapping fullbacks is something we haven't seen before and something I'm really excited to see. Is it going to be too overwhelming? Are we going to commit too many men forward? That pivot of McAllister and Gravenberch is going to be enough to hold down. A lot of counter-attacks likely coming our way. Maybe, maybe not. Whether Gakpo adapts, I think that's really interesting to see in pre-season and certainly the first half of the season. Because I would say Diaz started last season quicker than Gakpo, but then Gakpo eased into the season. He perhaps ended better than Diaz. But if Gakpo works in this system here with Wirtz inside him, it'd be very interesting because I think Diaz suits that system a lot more, in my opinion. I don't think Gakpo naturally suits that, to be honest with you. Gakpo likes to start very wide, is the only thing I'm thinking. He likes to pick the ball up deeper than Diaz. He likes to pick the ball up wider than Diaz. And he doesn't really like to pick the ball up over, taking a long ball down and running, because he's not the quickest Gakpo. Obviously, he's a fast player, he's a winger, but he likes to take the ball and be more direct and more cut inside with his play, doesn't he? He likes to cut inside, can he shift the shot out and shoot straight away? We saw it against West Ham multiple times, whereas Diaz will take his man on down the line. When does Gakpo do that? Not very often. So Gakpo likes to start wide and low. Diaz likes to start, for me, more narrow and high. So they're very different. And Diaz allows Curtis to overlap, whereas Gakpo is like there's no room to overlap, really. Maybe Curtis can underlap. Maybe Wirtz can take up some of that space. Maybe it's very interesting with Gakpo. Maybe a separate video is needed with Gakpo. And then finally, Jones possibly retraining as a central midfield player, as like a McAllister and as like a Gravenberch were last season in that midfield too. Because I think Jones is so good on the ball, but it's like in this team, you almost don't need that with Szoboszlai and Wirtz. It's like these two are the connectors. These two are the intelligence on the brain, sorry. With McAllister behind him, do you need a Jones in this team? Really, is there a place for him? He's not a destroyer. He's not particularly good in the tackle. He's very good in that front too. So maybe Jones actually might be the backup for Wirtz in that front two, like we saw against Man City. Maybe he just stays in that position. It'd be interesting again to see if he'll be used as a midfielder in pre-season, if he'll be used as maybe where Harvey Elliott was used last year in pre-season, as like that false nine. Unfortunately, didn't work out for him with injuries. But I think Jones has a big year next season to step up. And listen, I don't think he's going to earn his first team place back over Wirtz, of course not. But that second spot's his. It's absolutely his. I think it's important to note as well, if this doesn't work, if maybe in a game we're struggling with this 4-2-2 thing, we just bring Jota on that. We've got options off the bench now. Jota don't seem to be leaving. I think Nunes is much more likely to leave than Jota. So having Jota as that recognised number 9 who can come off the bench, he's done it so many times and has a completely different dynamic into this team. And more recognised, like he's just better in the box, Jota. He's better instincts. He's a better finisher, obviously. And having that striker is really going to be a game changer for me. We have a plan B. We're not limited to this plan A. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. The City win wasn't a one-off. It previewed slot system. Jones showed the role and Wirtz will elevate it. I was really proud of that line, to be honest with you. Szoboszlai remains vital, but now in a more attacking spot. We expect for me, a narrow, fluid, intense Liverpool next season. Why have I written that? That's intense. Ignore my last line. What have I just put there? I did not mean to write narrow. I don't know why I've written that. That's literally meant to say the exact opposite word of wide. So ignore. Put your hand over that. Yeah, I think it'll be a lot wider next year with fullback stretching the widths and using the ball that space. Let me know your thoughts and ignore that last slide because that's crap. I'd love to know what you think. And if you enjoyed the video, the best way you could support is leaving a like down below. I'll put a video here regarding Liverpool's squad rebuild next season. Who do I want to see bring in? Who do I want to see leave? Go watch that.